Today, I'm going to walk you through just how easy it is to close cash collected deals on LinkedIn. And we don't have to change your offer. We don't have to change who you market to. We don't have to change a whole lot. And in fact, we know how to install a system that literally takes our clients less than 5 minutes a day to answer the positive replies because of how we set it up. And I'm going to take you through what that setup looks like so that you too can do this for your own business. So this is my client, Tammy. When she came to us, she built her business basically on referrals. And she had yet before had a system that could predictably book sales calls. So when she came to me, she came in for an offer that we call the launch before lunch, where we just need 30 minutes of their time and then we launch them with a full system. And within 1 month of launching, we were able to get her 4 calls a week. She closed over $9,000 cash collected in deals and still uses that system today. So when she came to us, she had an empty calendar built on referrals only. The revenue was pretty unpredictable because when you are relying on referrals, yes, we know what our clients are going to be coming back and paying with us every month. But if you really want to grow, you really want to scale, you've no way to truly understand how you're going to make that happen when you are waiting for the phone to ring instead of making the phone ring. So 30 days later, after we had installed this system, she had the $9,000 collected, 3 to 4 calls coming in a week. And I can't stress this enough. We didn't have to change much about her business. We didn't have to change the offer. We took what her expertise was and we just stepped up what the message was being sent to the people and the people it was being sent to. That part is a very big deal. So one of the biggest things about what we do with just the automation side and why you really should have some form of automation happening on LinkedIn is that there are going to be days where you just don't feel like logging in and sending another connection request or even remembering to have to follow up with some of the leads that you were meant to follow up with this week. And so when you use a little bit of automation to help you do that, the system is working on your behalf. When you lack the motivation or you lack the time because you have client work to handle, and the system will have that happen. So you need to really find today a LinkedIn automations tool that you initiate a campaign on. We recommend a tool called Connector. We actually have an opportunity to grab a 7-day free trial. There is a link down below where you can grab that. But essentially what it is a really safe way to make sure that you are maximizing the amount of connection requests that you are sending every day. One of the things that people don't quite understand is that LinkedIn limits per week how many connection requests you can send per day. So there are some quotas that we work off per day, what can be sent, but that really is based on per week. And so the number can be about up to maximum 200 connection requests per day. So if there a week goes by where you're on vacation or client work was just going on and you didn't have those opportunities, you never get that time back. You never are having, then it doesn't roll over. So then the next week, now you're getting 400 connection requests. It doesn't work like that. So even just having a system that at least gets a connection request out to a specific list of people that you potentially want to work with in the future, even if you're not going to message them today, even if you're not going to use the automations to send any of the messages, it's a pretty important thing to have. So what's important to know is that when we put this together for Tammy, the problem, again, was not her offer. It was just what she was being compared to. And that really came through what the messaging was saying, that once the person was connected with her, the first message that went to them to get their attention, to get them to respond, that is the magic sauce that we put together. So the first big change that we did was who she was reaching out to. So instead of just targeting by title and industry and company stage, we identified people who were based on what they were experiencing right now. And the list it produced was dramatically smaller, but dramatically more likely to convert because spray and pray is out. We are looking for signals. We are looking for people who are in a buying pocket. We are scraping the internet to look for people who have said things on LinkedIn, on Reddit, on YouTube, on Instagram, and also the content that they're engaging with, the podcasts they're engaging with. There are ways for us to seek out these people based on their behavior to determine that they're in a buying pocket. The next that we look at here is what the message led with. So we went from having a service description to actually demonstrating and understood that we understood that prospect's problem. So when you know someone is in the middle of an active problem, the message doesn't have to explain the service. It can show that you already understand the situation that they're in, and that's what separates a deleted message from a reply. This actually plays very, very big into buyers' psychology. And one of the biggest problems that are prevalent within outbound is the status. So when you do an outbound message to somebody, it typically can lower your status, especially if that message is fed with, here's why I'm great, here's what I do, and here's all the things that I can do for you. You are just lowering your status so far down that the person on the other end that is receiving that is going to enter into a fight or flight response, meaning that is not good for you. you are not getting what you want from that person, and they're just going to file you off as spam. I don't need to give this any more of my attention because this person has a lower status than me. And I've been there. I've gone through the whole, this is stupid, this is not logical, I don't think about things this way. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And so there's a really, really great book by Oren Clough called Pitch Anything, where he digs very, very deep into this process and the importance of understanding the status game that you must play. And so when you're in the LinkedIn DMs or you're in any sort of sales conversation, a lot of times your prospect wants to hold on to a power status. So when you come in and you are using these very beta signals of, I'm so great, this is all the great things that we do, would you pop behind me, have a meet with me? You're just instantly your status. So when you focus on being able to demonstrate that you understand their problem, and we're not really there to sell ourselves at all, it immediately starts to elevate your status so that the response that you're receiving isn't quite met with such a hard fight or fight response. So when we really start to understand that relying on referrals means that you've placed a ceiling on your business, and instead of building a business based around leads that have a timing infrastructure that comes in, you're leaving yourself stuck. And the reason why we love referral leads is really two reasons. Number one, that person came in with a buying need. They sought you out, they sought out their network because there is an immediate problem that they are looking to solve. Number two, the lead comes in with a whole heck of a lot of trust. And that is why everybody loves referral leads, because referral leads are very easy to sell. Referral leads don't require you to communicate well the ROI and the payoff somebody gets when they work with you. That is what we help with, because when you want to go to a cold market, they have to immediately understand what you do, how you do it, who you've helped, and what is the payoff, what is the time, what is the result, and the time that you can get that in. That is what I help my clients do when they come and they work with me. Again, selling to a cold market, selling to somebody who's never heard of you before that didn't come in from a referral is a very different sales process. It's a very different messaging from the time that they are established as a lead all the way to getting them over to signing a signed deal with you. So that is what we help with on all different kinds of ways that we help with our clients. But if you're ready to install something like this, like what I did for Tammy, that within 30 days, she had 3 to 4 booked calls every single week. She got over $9,000 in cash collected just in 30 days. I would love to actually reconnect with her to see just how many more deals she's closed since then. But essentially, if you want me to do that for you inside your business, click on the link below. You can check it out. If you have any questions, you can send us an email at support@salesbites.co. But if you're ready just to move forward, there is a link where you can just go through. The minute that you go and you pay, you will book an onboarding session with myself, and I will go through the entirety of what your offer, your messaging, and your targeting should be. And I will build you a back-end system that is exactly what I did for Tammy. And that is setting you up a system that just requires you to log in 3 to 5 minutes a day and just handle the positive replies that you are getting to the list that we build. All right, if you're still with me, be sure to like the video and hit subscribe, because I put out new videos every single week on just how we book new sales calls using platforms like LinkedIn and Meta. Cheers.